113 Years of Grace. The St. Paul Story.
So how long have you been in St. Paul?
I started going there in 1959 when I started dating my husband. It was his church, his family's church. And I joined in 1960 when we got married a year later.
All of my life, which makes 57 years.
Amen.
I should have been about, I'd say 14.
I joined the church in 1950.
I've been a member of St. Paul since 1955.
We moved from Greenville, Alabama in 1958, and St. Paul was over on Bogan Street at that time. Mm-hmm. And we moved 2 blocks behind St. Paul. We bought from a Jewish family 2 blocks behind St. Paul. And when St. Paul moved up on Dexter, we continued to go there.
In 1959, I told my dad, I got a job working for this AME Zion church, and they don't have any benefits. They don't pay a whole lot of money. Uh-huh. But he said, but baby, you're working for the Lord.
Amen.
I was a part of you, and as I look back, it started when I was at Northeastern High School in Detroit. It must have been Bo and one of the other guys who were at Northeastern, and they invited me to church one Sunday. I only lived 4 blocks from the church, and from that Sunday on, as a high school student, I started attending St. Paul, and you have been a part of my life all these years.
I've been involved in the steward board about 40 years. Wow. I was just blessed to be a steward. We had so many nice people in St. Paul, beautiful people to work with.
Well, I worked with the Sunday school as a Sunday school teacher. I was a class leader, appointed and then elected president of the Nettie Kerrigan Missionary Society, which is one of the 3 parent-body groups here at St. Paul.
I was a steward for quite a long time.
Okay.
I attended Christian Endeavor. I sung with the children's choir, the teenage choir, the young people's choir. I sang with the male chorus.
Yes.
I sang with the senior choir, the cathedral choir.
The outreach ministry, I was one of the early members of that group,
Okay.
so I was a part of that for a few years. Because Mrs. Pitts was my neighbor, and she got me involved in everything. In '69, when I joined the police department, I backslid for 15 years. And
Wow.
I didn't come back, 1985, actually, and it was Miss Combs, Phyllis Combs, who used to run into me in the grocery store and in the bank. She said, Miss Knox, when are you coming back to Sunday school? We need you in Sunday school. When are you coming back to church? So one day I surprised her and I showed up. And when I did, she wasn't Reverend then, but Esther Rose was the superintendent of the Sunday school at the time. She slid into the pew with me and said, we need you in Sunday school. So it got me back in Sunday school, and then I was there ever since.
You supported me. You even allowed me to teach in Christian education. You allowed me to give. Singing in the choir, believe it or not, you even tolerated my choir, or my singing in the choir. Minnie, Shirley, Bo, Tank, we were all there together.
I attended St. Paul, St. Palmer, and Bobian. We had a unique situation where we had a Christian Endeavor, which was met Sunday afternoon. We tried to make Sunday morning. And very often we had a nice meal at St. Paul that the missionaries or someone was cooking, and they were good. They were good.
Okay.
And that would be during the middle of the day. So actually, we young people, because they were there, we talked a lot. And we visited stood around outside or inside the church.
Fellowshipping.
And St. Paul did purchase the building next door. And the pastor lived down midway of the block. And so actually, we had plenty of, I'd say, supervision, but basically, the group was so friendly to each other. We're almost like brothers and sisters.
You know, when we first moved up there, we moved behind 2 blocks behind the church. My wife lived right across the street. I met her 54 years ago.
56, 55, babe.
Okay, 55 years ago, too. I can't get away with the years. and it's just been, you know, it was always that community there. There was a lot of elderly people that bought their home from the Jewish community, and they stayed there. They still there.
Okay.
And their grandchildren and great-grandchildren are moving in, but it was a steady community.
Which St. Paul was very active in the city ministry.
Okay.
And you had what they call the Church United. And we had a lot of white churches that we participated with.
Okay.
And we'd sing an afternoon church service and have a mass service at the different churches.
What do you think has been our biggest contribution to Detroit at large?
That is a question with several different layers, but I'll say that part of it stems from what I was just speaking of about the quality of the membership. We have had reach into different areas in Detroit. Education, labor, factory, unions, and so many other places, so many other areas that we're represented, so to speak, everywhere. Politicians and such. And because of that, we have our understanding, our sensibilities, our temperament is involved in those areas throughout the city.
St. Paul was the cornerstone. We was always active in the community. That was time when Martin Luther King came to St. Paul, and we had to march down on Woodward. And
Amen.
it was St. Paul was like a hub. Everybody in the city knew about St. Paul and knew about Dr. Audrey and Bid.
Done outreach for the community. We used to go sing in the neighborhood during the Christmas holidays. We give out food. We used to serve dinner for the neighbors once a week.
Okay.
So we've done a lot.
At the time they was having the elections there, they were very active because in reality, we had the mayor, he would come through every now and then. John Conyers would come through. Several other politicians would.
We have been very, very diligent and very, very purposeful, and that has meant that the church continues, that the legacy of the church continues, that the church still stands, so to speak.
Yes.
And while we often talk about church building being the church is actually the people, and so this church, meaning its people, are very resilient people, very faithful people, very dedicated people.
There are a lot of people there who feel like family.
That's right.
And they treat us like family. And we try and do the same to them.
Well, I stay at St. Paul because I feel that's where God put me at, and I feel comfortable there. And, you know, this is one of the reasons that I never left.
St. Paul has a wealth of people with different talents, different sensibilities, people who are mothering and fathering and nurturing, people who know how to cultivate talent and provide inspiration. And so the people have always been the fascination with me and St. Paul.
We have such grand people there, you know, it's family.
That's right.
You know, we whatever is wrong with you or people in your life, somebody from St. Paul has been there to help you to get over that.
You were the hands that shaped you. It was your hearts that loved. You encouraged. You tolerated my nonsense then, as you still do. And it has just meant the difference in my life. Dr. Audrey was my father in ministry, but more than that. He was a father in every sense of the word. And it was through his efforts, it was through his example, it was through just his personality that I was able to hear my call, say yes to God, and go forth in ministry.
We just always busy there, and I'm proud of St. Paul.
Me
I'm really
too.
proud of it.
Where do you see us going now?
We've got to go up.
That's right.
But the only way we're going to go up is we're going to have to try to work in the community and work in, I'd say, the whole west side, really.
Everybody knew, and they still know, St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
That big church on Dexter, that's what they call us. But we're definitely moving forward.
Yes, we are.
Pastor Jarrett is doing a good job.
Yes, he is.
Love you all. May God give to you in the future as he has given to us in the past. God bless. See you soon.
I think that where there are faithful people, that St. Paul will go on. Even though we have some low valleys, there have been peaks, and that if we keep our hands in God's hand, we won't fail.
Amen.